What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Oh man. Shout out to Shay Sade. Shout out to Shay for finding this video because Mr. Z got an answer. And I know this was short notice, very short notice. But I was a little tardy today, about 10 minutes late. So we will be speaking about what's the benefit? What's the benefit of what, Z? What's the benefit of being in community with black men? I told y'all they be saying, what about the community? Community. Be antagonistic to black men, mean to black men, stick their middle finger up at black men, aren't particularly nice to black men or boys. Huh? But the second son go left in their life, then they want to start talking about community. Of course, of course. Huh? So the question is, what happened? Oh, and let me read this from Louis, right? And Louis says, show that on stage. Louis says, what happened to the intro? So Louis, I got flagged for the music, right? I got flagged for the music. So it keeps on sharing the revenue because of the intro music. So I don't know where you got it from, but it doesn't like keep me from streaming, or it doesn't demonetize the video. It just shares the whatever. So yeah, that happened. Yeah, it happened to me with one of my old intros too, which I used forever. I think I had that intro for like, I don't know, a year, maybe more. And it finally hit me one day and I was like, wait, what? I've been using this intro forever. And it was an original car intro song, but I guess it sounded too much like something else. And so when I looked to see what they flagged, what sound they flagged me for, yeah, it did sound a lot like it, but it wasn't that. So, you know, it happens. So I don't know. So we will be responding to Shay. Shout out to Shay Sade. And actually, we'll be responding to the young lady. Shout out to Shay for presenting this. So we're going to be playing Shay in a minute. Yeah. What is the benefit of being in community with black men, everyone? That is the question, right? So let's get to it. I'm going to play this in a minute, right? Y'all give me a second. Let's get to it. Make sure we... Okay, here we go. And here we go, y'all.
How do black women benefit from being in community with black men?
I ran across this video that reads, how do black women benefit from being in community with black men? Not romantically, not by blood, communally. And the fact that we are even having to have this conversation, to me, speaks to the anti-black misandry that has been cultivated in this nation for decades upon decades now. Because if you have to ask why it's a benefit to be with somebody of your own community, like, to me, in my opinion, you're already starting off of the right footing and that's showing you the value or the lack of value that they place on the individuals of that gender. So I want you guys to just keep that in the back of our mind. We're going to look at a video of a woman who was asking, what value do black men bring to the black community? If that was reframed, and if black men went online and said, what value do black women bring to the black community? Those men would be seen as misogynoir and they would be shamed from here until tomorrow. And rightfully so. But because we are having this conversation from a black woman, I'm just letting you know we're coming from that lens. And that is also, to me, an indication on how normalized anti-black misandry is in the black community. So let's listen to what she has to say, and then we are going to go from there.
How do black women benefit from being in community with black men? Not romantically, not familially, communally. Now, let's start this conversation with a working definition of community, okay? When I say community, I'm talking about a shared space, physical, emotional, or digital.
I'm also going to say this too. This question to me is also an indication of how many black women grew up without fathers. It's just a clear indication. Because if you have to ask this, if this is like a theory up for debate, that likely means that you're not in community with them. You're not. Or you don't know them like that. Maybe you've seen them. Maybe you kind of had to work alongside one randomly at your job, or you saw one in class. But if you're asking me this, you're already telling me what time it is. You did not grow up in a community with black men. Maybe you had a random brother. Maybe you had a cousin. Maybe you had an uncle. But you definitely grew up like under matriarchy or a gynocracy. That to me seems so clear.
Where there's supposed to be mutual care, support, and accountability. A space where people show up for one another, not because they're obligated to by blood or romance, but because they value humanity. Now, we know that black men love to try to keep black women accountable, but where's the support? Where's the mutual care? And then the thing is, like, if the community doesn't exist, if there's no real benefit and there's no real sense of community, how can you hold me accountable? Now, So we have
No, she asked, like, if there is not a community, then how can you hold me accountable? That's actually a very good point. If you were saying you're not a part of my community, if you were saying Black woman only, right? Because you have some pages out there where it's like, oh, I'm pro-Black woman. They make it very clear, I'm pro-Black, but only for women. You've had decades upon decades upon decades of policies that have specifically benefited Black women. Dr. T. Johnson breaks this down exclusively in his book. For those of you guys who think that this is all a joke, when you actually look at the data and you understand the amount of programs that have been made available or were made available to women, and specifically Black women, that were completely null and void, that were non-existent for Black men, you will be shocked. These aren't just ideas. These aren't just like dusty Black men who are just complaining because they couldn't get a job or whatever. It's like there were actual policies and there was systematic assistance that women really have had for decades. And actually a lot of men wouldn't even be mad about that if that didn't become a reason for Black women to kind of go and like basically undermine men or talk about men and bash men and say like, well, you guys aren't on our level. You get access to some programs, you get, you get the job, you get the grant, you get the internship, you get the money, whatever. And then you look at the men who don't have access to those things, who are taking a little longer to move forward, and you're saying, oh, we're not on our level. That is the kind of culture that has been actually cultivated over the last few decades. And what's happening now is because those programs are being removed and the access that women and also Black women have enjoyed for quite some time is not there, it's forcing these women back into a stark reality that Black men have been accustomed to because that's their thing. But then it's forcing these kinds of conversations to the table. Well, what does it mean to be in community with Black men? You're only asking that because you weren't in community with Black men beforehand and you were comfortable without them until you needed them. Let's continue.
working definition. How do Black women actually benefit from being in community with Black men? Not hypothetically, not ideally, but in practice, in real life. I've been sitting with this question because over the past few months, I've had to ask for help repeatedly, publicly, and overwhelmingly, it's been Black women who responded. Black women who gave, Black women who checked in, Black women who shared the post, dropped comments of support, offered resources, and poured from their already empty cups. Black women. And I'm talking about hundreds, thousands of dollars, right, that I've been able to raise because of the generosity of Black women.
Dang. I mean, I don't know. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Can y'all tell me an example of a Black man who went online saying I need some help and he got hundreds of thousands of dollars? Because in my opinion, if a Black man goes online and says I need help, they're gonna look at him and say, Negro, get a job. You're an able-bodied man, get off of TikTok and get your real job. But here's an able-bodied Black woman who went online, it sounds like, and said she needed help and she got support. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying here we're looking at a prime example of how Black men and Black men are not treated people. Because best believe if a Black man went online and was like, oh, help me, they'll be like, Negro, can you get you a real job? Black men and Black women would sit there and say that. Be like, we talk about you're a man, you don't need a handout. And Black women will look at him and say the same thing, like, you're a man, figure it out. But if it's a Black woman that's like, oh, I'm gonna show you support, we talking about already, she said that. I'm like, you done got hundreds of thousands of dollars by going online, and wow, I mean, good for her. I'm not mad at it, but I'm just like, wow, that's pretty crazy. Okay. let's continue.
Because of the time, the energy, the emotional labor, the contributions from Black women. There's been one Black man in the last 3 months who has sent me $25. He happens to be one of my mutuals on this app. He's also married to a white woman, and I think that's worth mentioning, right? So, again, the question is, what does communal support from Black men actually look like? Where is it? When Black women are in need, when we are grieving, when we are creating, when we are fighting for our lives, how do Black men show up in ways that don't center themselves? Because what I see too often is critique without care. I see the accountability, right? They want us to be accountable. But where's the care? I see the demands without contributions, entitlement without reciprocity. And what's worse, when Black women do name these gaps, we get labeled bitter, divisive, ungrateful. But my question is rooted in data, in lived experience, in absence. So I'm asking seriously, not sarcastically, what is the communal value of Black men in the lives of Black women? What do we gain? What is the mutuality? What is the investment? Because Black women stay showing up for everybody, but who's showing up for us?
Something else she mentioned, she talked about basically she was in need and she got a whole bunch of different support from Black women. There was one Black man who was married to a snow bunny who showed up for her, the rest were Black women. Then she goes on to ask, what value, what benefit do we have from Black men when we're in need, when we need help, we're grieving? How do they show up outside of centering themselves, right? So my other response to that is whoever you're in community with is going to be the ones who support you. So if you are in a community of primarily women, which it sounds like she is, because the fact that she's asking this tells me that she doesn't know Black men. If you're in community with Black women, it makes sense that Black women would be the ones to show up for you when you are in need. So like, it's not surprising to me that a Black woman who's in community with Black women, who is probably a feminist, definitely sounds like she has feminist thought. It's not surprising to me that she would share a post, other Black women who are likely feminists share the post, and those Black feminists, those Black women support each other. Like, duh, that makes sense. But to expect Black men who you probably don't know, are not in community with, don't probably respect, and don't like to show up for you when they don't see you, don't have a relationship with you, doesn't sound like you're really interested in them. They're supposed to now just all of a sudden just be there and support and like give you a hand. Like it doesn't really make sense because you're not in community with them. So this idea of you don't like Black men, you're not in community with them, you don't really want to be in community with them. And then when you have a hard time, random Black men are supposed to just come out of nowhere and give you money and there's supposed to be this sense of community. Like, no, community is cultivated.
Did that stop for y'all too?
And I think what happens is I think sometimes Black men don't understand the part
Okay, so that stopped. Yeah, it did. Okay. Well, we'll get back to it. The important and pertinent part. What exactly is the benefit of black men in community? What benefit do black men offer black women in the black community? So we had this thought experiment a year or so ago, right? What happened if we Thanos snap every black man out of America? How great it would be for black women if we just Thanos snapped all black men out of America and black women can frolic in the wind with non-black folks, right? And enjoy their co-munching covens, right? And prosper without the weight of and the stigma of black men being in the way of their progress, right? Oh, it's still playing. My apologies, y'all. It had cut out for me. I'll play it again. Shout out to Shay for catching it. Shout out to Toya who put the target sign, right? Sometimes you are so selfish and so self-centered and so calm down. So selfish and so tongue-tied, self-centered, so self-absorbed, such an asshole that you don't appreciate what you're actually saying when you say it. You don't appreciate how minimizing you are to others in their plight, how dismissive you are to others in their plight. Shay caught it early. What benefit are black men in community? If a black man did the same thing you did and asked for help, he would have been mocked, ridiculed, and made fun of right off the goddamn internet. Huh? Mocked, made fun of, and ridiculed right off the goddamn internet. As GC said, not giving you a damn dime, lady. That's how everybody would have been responding to him. Huh? Black Uru says, notice how she never says what black men are supposed to get out of this so-called quote-unquote community of people who are not connected by blood or genitals. You know what's fascinating? They do this catch-all, sweep-all, right? Black women show up for everybody. Okay, now let's talk about what black men can do for black women. Uh, Black women go into protest because they want to meet up with their friends. Ooh, you did not say that, Z. Ooh. Huh? LGBTQ black folks turning these goddamn protests into a meet and greet and a matchmaking event. God damn, Z, you went there with it. Shout out to BLM. Huh? Black women and black LGBTQ folks turning the dead bodies of black men at the hands of the state into their meet and greet and matchmaking events. They think that's them showing up. Huh? Them using, talk about alchemy, them using the dead bodies of primarily straight black boys and men to transmute that into something that's beneficial specifically for black women and black LGBTQ. I guess that's them showing up, Black Guru. That's them showing up. We show up for everybody. Okay, yeah, that's it, lady. Yawn. Huh? That's them showing up. Taking the energy that's created while protesting, while demonstrating, while advocating for black boys and black men and transmuting that into say her name. Ooh. Huh? That's them showing up. Yeah, that's it. You don't get community. For women like this, you get black women's ass to kiss. And appreciate this. This is what Mr. Z loved. You know she had to make that little slick ass side comment about the dude that donated, the brother that donated, black man that donated $25, that he's with a white woman. You know she had to say it. Oh, she had to say it. That let us know that's what matters, madam. Y'all can't even keep a straight face. Women like you can't even keep a straight face. Shay's video is only 10 minutes long. I sped it up to be 7.5 minutes long, give or take. You couldn't even keep a straight, and much of that is Shay talking. How long was your original video? What, 2, 3 minutes? 4 minutes, maybe? You couldn't even keep a straight face. You couldn't even keep a poker face for a few minutes. We all know what it is because you said it. Huh? Oh yeah, some man who I know through this connection or that connection, he donated $25, and he with a white woman. I thought you said not romantically, madam. Huh? I thought you removed that from the table when you first started speaking. You couldn't even step and stand in your own standard for like 4 minutes. Huh? How do you set the standard? You set the rules, and then you couldn't even keep to your own rules for a matter of less than 5 minutes, madam. Huh? And Black Guru says black women protest to hunch fake liberal white men and women. Uh-oh. Huh? Huh? What is the benefit of black men in community? I said this to FD. I knew this was the goal. Huh? Shout out to Obsidian, who've been calling it for years. Community eunuchs. We're gonna mock you. We're gonna make fun of you, black men. We're gonna mock you, black men. We're gonna insult you, black men. We're gonna belittle you, black men. Huh? We're gonna be antagonistic. We're gonna give you the middle finger. But you better still participate in community. Huh? You got women running around here sounding like this.
I'm gonna need to see a lot more manipulation, a lot more gaslight, a lot more projection. I want to see you guys tell a man no offense right before you offend him. I need to see a lot more triangulation. Right before a man finishes his point, I want you to change the topic completely. I want to see you guys say no disrespect and then proceed with hella disrespect. I want to see more comparisons, preferably to celebrities. Insults, 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 and get creative with it. I need to see you guys calling the police more often and pressing charges every time. Bring up his dad randomly whenever you can. Lie randomly. I need to see us giving full disclosure on things that we probably shouldn't give full disclosure on.
Huh? You got black women sounding like that, and then this black woman talking about community. Yawn. It's always community after they give you the middle finger. Huh? Nice try, lady. What benefit are black men to black women in community? Huh? Not romantically, not familially. For some of my day ones, y'all remember Mr. Z talking about that big ass tent, and it's storming outside, and black women want black men to hold the tent up while they run around doing whatever they want to do, like children under that tent, playing tag under the tent. Oh, we know they playing tag. What body parts? Oops. Huh? Dropping food all under the tent, littering all under the tent, kicking the black men that's holding the tent up all under the tent. Huh? And then got the nerve to tell you what you not doing because apparently the black tent is not as nice as the white tent over there. And some of us have the good mind to kick them right over to the other side if they can make it. Huh? Always goddamn finding some weird, interesting, not so interesting, aggressive, mean, antagonistic way of begging. Shout out to you, Trill.
Niggas be so quick to let me take you on a trip. Let me take you on a trip. Pay a fucking bill. Pay a bill. Pay a goddamn bill.
Always begging. Damn.
Can we get on the phone? No, get on the phone with billing. Don't talk to me. Talk to billing.
Huh? That's essentially you, madam. Shout out to black women who's still on the mean, antagonistic, shaming tactic. Oh, that's still working? Black women have showed up, but black men they don't show up. I've had one black man who gave me $25. And if I'm not mistaken, she didn't say hundreds of thousands of dollars. She said hundreds and thousands of dollars. Either way, black men would have got Nathan, nothing, zero, zilch, nada. Huh? Imagine being so goddamn self-centered and selfish that you don't appreciate that black men would have been laughed off the goddamn internet. A black man would have been laughed off the internet if they even posed the question. First of all, they wouldn't even have asked. But if they did, as Shay said, they would have been mocked and ridiculed by black men and black women alike. If anybody would have shot them a few dollars, it would have been a black man. Then if they had the unmitigated gall, huh, to turn around and then sound like you and be antagonistic and ask, what's the point of black women being in community? Why are black women in community with us? What benefit is it to black men for black women to be in community? I told them I needed help, and none of them donated. You imagine if a black man came on the internet sounding like that? You imagine if a black man, a straight black man, came on the internet sounding like that? What the black community would have did to that person? The think pieces, field pieces, shout out to Indigo, Black Bread Tube, what they would have did with that? She's so selfish. She don't even appreciate black men aren't even given the luxury to even ask the question in the first place, then to turn around and throw a fit because black women didn't show up the way we wanted them to show up. Petulant child. Y'all wonder why Z said, stop calling them masculine. They're not masculine. They're petulant children throwing a temper tantrum. Huh? That's why I say that. They're petulant children throwing a temper tantrum. They're not masculine.
Quiet, lady! Get the fuck out, lady. Fuck out.
Exactly why I played that. That shout out to Trill. Get the F out, lady. Exactly. Exactly. Petulant children. I told y'all, children in grown women's bodies. Huh? Trill said, dysfunctional minor girls. Indigo says, stop calling them masculine. They're not masculine. Check. They're not masculine. They're petulant children throwing a temper tantrum. What's the point of being in community? Madam, have you seen yourself? Have you heard yourself? Shay called it. Apparently, you don't have a community. You don't. You don't have a network of men. You're not in community with men. But then you want to put the bat signal up, and that's all black women are engaging in now. Whenever they run into something, then they want to put the bat signal up, and black men are supposed to da-da-da. Huh? community. I told y'all they say it. I said it. I'm so glad. Shout out to Shay. I'm so glad Shay covered this. I said it. I knew it. Okay, see how many times you gonna say it? I'm gonna say it another dozen times at least. Imagine being this antagonistic and shaming. While it's not a real question, this is a rhetorical question. What point is it in being in community with black men? Then don't be. Wait a minute. Mr. Z was going to say, then don't be in community with black men. Well, madam, apparently you already are. You already are not in community with black men. That's why you're asking the question. If you were in community with black men, you wouldn't be asking the question. We could tell this is you all the time, madam. You're not coming to this thinking, oh, black men are going to look out for me. You already knew they wasn't going to look out for you because you're not in community with black men. My thumbnail is the wall of indifference. That's what women like you get. You little antagonistic, mean assholes, that's what you get. You don't get to put the bat signal up after decades, years and decades of middle finger to black men. Huh? You build community. Now, madam, apparently the black men around you, oh, they told you go get it from old man Winter. Feel the cold embrace of old man Winter. Huh? I've been saying it for years. This is not the way it's supposed to be. This is the way black women want it, though. Oh, they just hate the fine print. They hate what the receipt look like. Madam, apparently you're not in community with black men. You wanted random black men to donate to you. What compelling story do you have? Did a house burn down? Did you lose a parent in some freak accident? What compelling story do you have? What are you even trying to raise money for your child's braces? What story do you have, madam? Huh? Lost your car in a flood? What? Huh? So you just gonna put the bat signal up. You're just gonna flash the bat signal, and black men are just supposed to jump out of the helicopters and fly in and swim in, huh? We supposed to be Aquaman, huh? Oh wait, the older brother acted as a mentor to Aquaman. That's why when he saw what was going on, he swam his ass all the way across and lifted himself with the dripping wet clothes and started throwing bows. Oh, Mr. Z. Robin. Oh, because the older gentleman had fostered a relationship with him. That's why everyone was willing to jump off that boat and start throwing bowls. That's what community looks like. They were willing to go to jail for that man. Huh? That's why he threw the hat up. That's what a bat signal looks like. Huh? And y'all gives you a second, y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. But yeah. So no, madam, you don't get just random black men parachuting into your life when you just press a button. What? And then the shaming tactic, the shaming language, and aggressively too. Not Master P. Just say hootie hoo. Huh? And Black Uru says communities are built by families. Families are built by men and women committing to raise future productive citizens who will carry that community into the future. Oh wait, Black Uru, we can't shame people into community. We can't antagonize and insult people into community. We can't ask them rhetorical, mean ass questions like, what's the point of being in a community with you into community? Oh, you gotta love black women, boy. Hey, there's this think they're gonna insult you and shame you into doing what they want you to do. Especially when it doesn't benefit you whatsoever. Actually, is gonna be a burden to you, probably. You gotta love it. Huh? This lady really sat here. What's the point of being in community with them? Clearly, madam, do you have a husband? We already know the answer to that. Z, stop it. Stop, Z. Do you at least have a boyfriend, Z? I'm pretty sure we know the answer to that one, too. Okay. Huh? An involved father, Z, I'm almost certain we know the answer to that one. Well, damn. Okay, let's say you don't. What have you done? Okay, let's ask the question then. What have you done to build and contribute to this community where black men feel obligated to you? Huh? Obligated to do for you off GP. Huh? Have you built rapport, good, positive rapport with black men where they want to donate to you? Imagine the question isn't directed to yourself, man. Like, whew, what am I doing? Why aren't black men contributing? What, huh? Do I have black male friends? Okay, do I have black male associates? How do black men view me? The black men in my surroundings, my black male coworkers, huh? My homegirls, my girlfriends, their boyfriends, their black boyfriends. How do they view me? Their black husbands. How do they view me? Huh? GC says she doesn't have a man because you Negroes are fat phobic and colorist. Oh, you better believe we're colorist. Oh, of course we're colorist. Of course we're colorists, and we're fat phobic. Black men who end up with some of the heaviest women in the country are fat phobic. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yikes. And so let's read this. And thank you for the super chat, KW Don. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat and the hype button after the stream, of course. Shout out to the replay gang. And KW Don says synthetic Cynthia G. Synthetic is still doing BS streams talking about what purpose do black men's existence serve. The comment section was off the chain. Look, she could continue with that antagonistic crap. Ma'am, you had a channel of 100,000+ subscribers. You got knocked off of YouTube and nobody cared. Number one. Number two, what purpose is a black woman who antagonizes black men? What purpose does she serve to anyone? Okay, other black women get to watch her and get their energy off. All that anger and angst, they get that off. Okay, cool. Then guess what? They got to turn off that phone or log off of YouTube and go give their sugar daddy top. Goddamn, Z. You know something about that, don't you, Cynthia G? You know something about that, huh? They gotta log off of YouTube and now they gotta go make money. Uh-oh. Huh? You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Cynthia G? Having a fake smile with sugar daddies, white ones at that. Oh, laughing at their corny jokes, letting their little wrinkle fingers feel up on you. You wouldn't know nothing about that, Cynthia G, now would you? Huh? Imagine. Ew. Cynthia G teabagged by old white men. Yeah, she could talk all that crap she want. Look, lady, you're a little antagonistic, mean asshole. You're making your money. You came back on YouTube. Shout out to you. Other black women who feel similar to you are gonna listen to you because what else do they have? We know y'all don't got no money, huh? What else do they have? Z, you gonna say it again? Let Z say it again. And shout out to you, KW. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Black and Latina women who never marry are the least wealthy in the U.S. That's why there's a Cynthia G, all y'all. Huh? The Cynthia G's, the Chrissies, name them across the board. Even the Kim Fosters, who's a bit more educated. It don't matter. And I agree with it. Kim Foster actually said something real. A lot of this is class anxiety talk. But who's the one with the real problem here, though? Oh, she's right about that. Class anxiety talk. But primarily coming from who? Huh? Yikes. So yeah, look, if Cynthia G back, cool beans. She could be another one. Well, she's pretty much saying, what's the point of black men? What's the point of black women being in community with black men? Cynthia G and this other young lady, they could talk all they want. It sounds nice in theory. If we Thanos snap black men out of America, I agree with Black Uru. There's going to be a whole lot of unalived black women, strange fruit, and non-blacks will pull it. Shout out to the Latino community, boy. Hey, they'll pull it. They would force themselves on those ladies and the children, if we're gonna be honest and morbid about it. They would force themselves on them, be done with them, and delete them. We know what it is. Maybe they don't know what it is. All that sound nice. The white dudes and the Latinos will force themselves on these ladies and then delete them. All that sound nice. If we Thanos snap black men out of America right now, it's over for black women. And if let's say we don't even have to go so grim. They'll just get locked out of society. We don't have to go grim. They'll just get locked out of society. And you'll just slowly see them wither away. And the handful of them that might be a little attractive to some of the non-black dudes, they'll just be put on the concubine circuit. Huh? Ain't no chitlin circuit, you on the concubine circuit, lady. That's all. They really think these women really think white dudes and white folks are above Sarah Bartman. You think they won't do that again? What make them think that? Do y'all not hear Stephen Miller, Nick Fuentes, CK before he passed? Huh? You think they wouldn't do that again? These women are on drugs, y'all. All that sound nice, all that antagonistic. mean, snarky crap, that sassy crap, that antagonistic crap, all of that sound nice. In the real world, these dudes delete for less. These non-black dudes delete other men, definitely women, for less. Huh? So yeah, Cynthia G's back and she's talking that crap. That's cool. I'll see if I want to respond to it. We'll see. All of it sound nice. Sound good in theory. Delete black men, delete unborn black male babies. All that sound nice. In real life, huh. I think I heard something like that, Trell. And Trell says, did a young lady get stored in an attic in California recently? Didn't know. Yeah. Look, man, you don't really hear stories like this coming from black men. You don't hear these type of stories, huh? You don't hear these type of stories. But these are the people that they swear. Hey, I said it. It would just be the acolyte. If we were to Thanos snap black men out of America, it would just be comb munching covens of black women who would slowly dwindle out. They would just slowly dwindle out. They'd just get locked out of society for the most part, be pushed to the outskirts of cities. The few of them that these dudes find attractive will be put on the carousel, right? The peen carousel, and that's it. Yeah. Yikes. So yeah, look, Cynthia G could talk that crap, but we're gonna play this again from Shay Sade, refocus us, and let's emphasize this. And I said it before, you don't get community. If black men don't get respect, then black women don't get community. Black women want to operate a gynocracy. Black men with choices said you could have that by yourself. You could have your gynocracy, and less black men will be participating in that gynocracy. That gynocracy gonna turn into a hive. It's just gonna be a handful of sexually active black men in there, and quite frankly, non-black men. A whole lot of black women and black children, mixed children. Oops. Huh? So shout out to Shay. We'll play this again. Here we go. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat.
How do black women benefit from being in community with black men?
I ran across this video that reads, how do black women benefit from being in community with black men? Not romantically, not by blood, communally. And the fact that we are even having to have this conversation, to me, speaks to the anti-black misandry that has been cultivated in this nation for decades upon decades now. Because if you have to ask why it's a benefit to be with somebody of your own community, like, to me, in my opinion, you're already starting off with the right footing, and that's showing you the value or the lack of value that they place on the individuals of that gender. So I want you guys to just keep that in the back of our mind. We're going to look at a video of a woman who was asking, what value do black men bring to the black community? If that was reframed, and if black men went online and said, what value do black women bring to the black community? Those men would be seen as misogynoir, and they would be shamed from here until tomorrow, and rightfully so. But because we are having this conversation from a black woman, I'm just letting you know we're coming from that lens, and that is also, to me, an indication on how normalized anti-black misandry is in the black community. So let's listen to what she has to say, and then we are going to go from there.
How do black women benefit from being in community with black men? Not romantically, not familially, communally. Now, let's start this conversation with a working definition of community, okay? When I say community, I'm talking about a shared space, physical, emotional, or digital.
I'm also going to say this too. This question to me is also an indication of how many Black women grew up without fathers. It's just a clear indication. Because if you have to ask this, if this is like a theory up for debate, that likely means that you're not in community with them. You're not, or you don't know them like that. Maybe you've seen them. Maybe you kind of had to work alongside one randomly at your job, or you saw one in class. But if you're asking me this, you're already telling me what time it is. You did not grow up in a community with Black men. Maybe you had a random brother, maybe you had a cousin, maybe you had an uncle, but you definitely grew up like under matriarchy or a gynocracy. That to me seems so clear.
Where there's supposed to be mutual care, support, and accountability. A space where people show up for one another, not because they're obligated to by blood or romance, but because they value humanity. Now, we know that Black men love to try to keep Black women accountable, but where's the support? Where's the mutual care? And then the thing is, like, if the community doesn't exist, if there's no real benefit and there's no real sense of community, how can you hold me accountable? Now, so we help.
No, she asked, like, if there is not a community, then how can you hold me accountable? That's actually a very good point. If you were saying you're not a part of my community, if you were saying Black woman only, right? Because like, you have some pages out there where it's like, oh, I'm pro-Black woman. They make it very clear, I'm pro-Black, but only for women. You've had decades upon decades of policies that have specifically benefited Black women. Dr. T. Johnson breaks this down exclusively in his book. For those of you guys who think that this is all a joke, when you actually look at the data and you understand the amount of programs that have been made available or were made available to women, and specifically Black women, that were completely null and void, that were non-existent for Black men, you will be shocked. These aren't just ideas. These aren't just like dusty Black men who are just complaining because they couldn't get a job or whatever. It's like there were actual policies and there was systematic assistance that women really have had for decades. And actually a lot of men wouldn't even be mad about that if that didn't become a reason for Black women to kind of go and like basically undermine men or talk about men and bash men and say like, well, you guys aren't on our level. You get access to some programs, you get the job, you get the grant, you get the internship, you get the money, whatever. And then you look at the men who don't have access to those things, who are taking a little longer to get to move forward, and you're saying, oh, we're not on our level. That is the kind of culture that has been actually cultivated over the last few decades. And what's happening now is because those programs are being removed and the access that women and also Black women have enjoyed for quite some time is not there, it's forcing these women back into a stark reality that Black men have been accustomed to because that's their thing. But then it's forcing these kinds of conversations to the table. Well, what does it mean to be in community with Black men? You're only asking that because you weren't in community with Black men beforehand and you were comfortable without them until you needed them. Let's continue.
Working definition, how do Black women actually benefit from being in community with Black men? Not hypothetically, not ideally, but in practice, in real life. I've been sitting with this question because over the past few months, I've had to ask for help repeatedly, publicly, and overwhelmingly, it's been Black women who responded. Black women who gave, Black women who checked in, Black women who shared the posts, dropped comments of support, offered resources, and poured from their already empty cups. Black women. And I'm talking about hundreds, thousands of dollars, right, that I've been able to raise because of the generosity of Black women.
Dang. I mean, I don't know. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Can y'all tell me an example of a Black man who went online saying I need some help and he got hundreds of thousands of dollars? Because in my opinion,
exactly,
if a Black man goes online and says I need help, they're gonna look at him and say, Negro, get a job. You're an able-bodied man, get off of TikTok and get your real job. But here's an able-bodied Black woman who went online, it sounds like, and said she needed help and she got support. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying here we're looking at a prime example of how Black men are not treated people. Because best believe if a Black man went online and was like, oh, help me, they'll be like, Negro, can you get you a real job? Black men and Black women would sit there and say that. Be like, we talk about you're a man, you don't need a handout. And Black women will look at him and say the same thing, like, you're a man, figure it out. But if it's a Black woman that's like, oh, I'm gonna show you support, we talking about already, she said that. I'm like, you done got hundreds of thousands of dollars by going online, and wow, I mean, good for her. I'm not mad at it, but I'm just like, wow, that's pretty crazy. Okay. let's continue.
Because of the time, the energy, the emotional labor, the contributions from Black women. There's been one Black man in the last 3 months who has sent me $25. He happens to be one of my mutuals on this app. He's also married to a white woman, and I think that's worth mentioning, right? So, again, the question is, what does communal support from Black men actually look like?
Why is it worth mentioning?
When Black women are in need, when we are grieving, when we are creating, when we are fighting for our lives, how do Black men show up in ways that don't center themselves? Because what I see too often is critique without care. I see the accountability, right? They want us to be accountable. But where's the care? I see the demands without contributions.
Look at her face when she's saying it.
And what's worse, when Black women do name these gaps, we get labeled bitter, divisive, ungrateful.
You are, man. You are.
In lived experience, in absence. So
that's not data.
Not sarcastically. What is the communal value of Black men in the lives of Black women? What do we gain? What is the mutuality? What is the investment? Because Black women stay showing up for everybody, but who's showing up for us?
There you go.
Something else she mentioned, she talked about basically she was in need and she got a whole bunch of different support from Black women. There was one Black man who was married to a snow bunny who showed up for her, the rest were Black women. Then she goes on to ask, what value, what benefit do we have from Black men when we're in need, when we need help, we're grieving? How do they show up outside of centering themselves, right? So my other response to that is whoever you're in community with is going to be the ones who support you. So if you are in a community of primarily women, which it sounds like she is, because the fact that she's asking this tells me that she doesn't know Black men. If you're in community with Black women, it makes sense that Black women will be the ones to show up for you when you are in need. So like, it's not surprising to me that that a black woman who's in community with black women who is probably a feminist, definitely sounds like she has feminist thought, it's not surprising to me that she would share a post, other black women who are likely feminists share the post, and those black feminists, those black women support each other. Like, duh, that makes sense. But to expect black men who you probably don't know, are not in community with, don't probably respect, and don't like to show up for you when they don't see you, don't have a relationship with you, doesn't sound like you're really interested in them, but they're supposed to now just all of a sudden just be there and support and like give you a hand. Like it doesn't really make sense because you're not in community with them. So this idea of you don't like black men, you're not in community with them, you don't really want to be in community with them, and then when you have a hard time, random black men are supposed to just come out of nowhere and give you money and they're supposed to be the sense of community. Like, no, community is cultivated ongoing.
Exactly, Shay.
And I think what happens is, I think sometimes black men don't understand the part that they play in that. Like a community is something that is cultivated between men and women, but that happens on a day-to-day thing. So if you center your life around black women exclusively and you haven't learned how to get along and have healthy interdependent connections with black men, then you can't be surprised when they don't show up for you because they've never been there. Because you've never been around them, you've never been in those spaces where they would be there to help. So me as a black woman, married to a black man, I don't have those issues. There are black men in my life that are helpful, great, that I have working relationships with that have been there for me. It would be there for me. So I'm not asking this question, but I'm in community with them. But if I was single and if I just had a whole bunch of different girlfriends, it would likely be different. So I think on a real practical level, community is something that needs to be cultivated over time. It's not just there like randomly when you need money because you got laid off and there's supposed to be community. Like if you're not investing in the community, then we can't be surprised that when the community doesn't invest back, they don't know who you are. And I think that's sometimes the missing piece. Really interesting conversation, but I'm curious, what do you guys think about this whole thing? Did you have anything else you want to add? Or is there something that I missed? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening. If you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.
Thank you, Shay. Look, that as Shay said, you're not investing in community. You're not investing in community. You're not investing in black men, black boys. There are older black women right now that if they call me, I'm going. I'm going. Because they invested in me since a child. These are not even blood relatives that if they call, I'm going. Madam, who have you invested in? We have a bunch of atomized, mercenary type black women who then turn around and want to call on community and want to call on black men when something goes left in their life. So when something is not going right in their life, they want to be able to put the bat signal up. And black men are supposed to parachute to where they are. These are like mercenary relationship people who didn't turn around and tell you about community.
The only time having a boyfriend is worth it is when he is able to fully support you and pay all your bills. I said it, and I'll say it again. The only time a man who is your boyfriend, he's not your husband, if you're gonna be a girlfriend to someone, he needs to be paying all your bills. Otherwise, why is he there? What is his purpose? If he's not, he's just a boyfriend. Meaning if he leaves you, and a boyfriend is not a legal title. If he leaves you and promises you marriage, leaves you with nothing, you get nothing. But if he's paying all your bills, you're able to save money, you're able to invest into businesses that you want to do. If he leaves you, you're leaving with something else at the end of it.
I guess we're throwing love out the window. The only time having a girlfriend is worth it is if she's giving you bedroom fun whenever you want, cooking, cleaning, and shutting up, and knows how to be a man's peace. And
Z, why did you play that? I thought she said not romantic. But then she turned around and bring up the fact that the black man that assisted her and gave her $25, that he had a white wife. Okay, then. She couldn't even stick to her own rules. No? So black women are being little mean, rude, antagonistic relationship mercenaries. turn around and run into a wall, that wall of indifference. They turn around and run into a wall and then start saying, black men, what's the point of being in community with black men? Huh? Huh. Trell says, my mom has been going to the doctor and her husband needed help. I'm there. My neighbor needed to go to get MRI. I took her and came back later. No hesitation. Yeah. Trell, I'm guessing these are good people. Imagine not being necessarily a good person or a kind person and then turn around. I promise you, if you follow this lady, she ain't the most pleasant person to be around. You could tell it from the way she was talking. These people think you could be a complete asshole and people are obligated to look out for you. Will you meet a good Samaritan who still looks out? Maybe. I wonder, madam, do you have any other videos where you speak about the atomization of society or how we have to build our friendships? Okay, fine. Let's go the FD route. How, young folks need to go touch grass, go out there and hang out with your friends and go out. Do you have any video like that, madam? Huh? Do you have any videos talking about friendship? Do you have any other video talking about community? Okay, fine. Let's go down that route. Platonic relationship between black men and black women. Oh, I'll even give you this, madam. I'm asking these questions because I know she don't got them. Do you have any videos chastising black men and black women for always considering relationship in a romantic sense? Do you even have any of those? I know you don't. I'm willing to bet $1,000 right now she don't have those videos on her TikTok or on her Instagram or whatever the hell. I guarantee you she don't. Huh? Obsidian called it years ago, community Unix. And that's all this is. That's all she's really advocating for. Community Unix. Huh? And I got you. And Neo said for me to look this up, and hopefully I'll be able to read it. The print's kind of small on my screen, but Neo says, and he said this in the comments for Shay Sade's video. I love these quote unquote thought pieces, think pieces, but thought pieces will do too. You just spelled thought the wrong way. You spelled it the right way, but not the right way that Mr. Z's thinking about. Anyway, I love these thought pieces that just assume black women always show up for all black men, right? Again, when 54% of your men are single and childless, but daily scream about there are no good black men, what community or legacy are we building when we are with non-black women? But now it's reach back time. Now you're speaking French. We. Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Right. Telescope. We gotta use it. Put it in the book. Telescope said guilt pieces. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Huh? Not think pieces. Not thought pieces. Maybe thought pieces, but a different type of thought. But guilt pieces. No. Telescope said, no, these are guilt pieces. Trying to guilt black men into playing your position as a community eunuch. Huh? That's funny, Charlie. Charlie says, "There's no we without you and I." Right? Hysterical. He spells we the French way. Right? Oh, okay. It's a Maserati. All right. All right. Nobody cares, guy. Move it along. So I wanted to cover this. Shout out to Shay. Um, because the way she tries to manipulate this concept, this idea of community, and I wasn't thinking, y'all. I should have actually um got the definition for community also, so we could have went over it. The way she playing, yeah. And I'm Waffle says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. I'm Waffle says it's worth mentioning he got a white wife. Exactly. Why is it worth mentioning? Why is it worth mentioning? These people antagonize and are mean to black men. They're rude, they're dismissive. And then tries to call on community first. Secondly, what's going on in your life where you're repeatedly having to call on community, on black men? Yeah? And as Indigo said earlier, he's taking food out of his white wife's mouth to look out for you. Isn't he so kind? Imagine being so selfish and so self-centered, so mean and condescending to black men that while you're in the struggle, you still have time to tell black men how they ain't ish. Because that's essentially what this is. Madam, from my understanding, you're in some type of financial strain, some type of financial struggle, but you still got enough time and energy to tell black men that they ain't ish because they're not looking out for you in ways that you feel are sufficient. You know? And according to you, the one black man that did shoot you a little $20, a little dub, $25, right? You had to make note. You said it's worth mentioning. You had to make note that he has a white wife. I told you, it don't matter if you cure cancer. It doesn't matter if you find out what's in the middle of Jupiter. It doesn't matter if you're able to build us a space shuttle that makes human beings a multi-planetary species. It doesn't matter if you find out what's in the depths of the ocean. Huh? If you create out of nothing the next resource that powers the world, God forbid you have a non-black wife, oh, especially a white wife. In black women's minds, asterisk, but he got a white wife though. Yeah, he cured cancer, but he got a white wife though. Huh? But I think it's worth noting. Why is it worth noting? Did or did he not donate $25 to you, madam? And per your own words, you continue to find yourself in financial strain, in financial difficulties. Huh? And the one black man that donates, you still find a way to stomp him in the nuts. Shout out to the Boondocks. Yeah. Yikes. And Gil Gammy says, I bet he only cured cancer because that white bee had it. You know it. You know it. Uh, Black women, y'all gotta do better on y'all poker face when it comes to white folks. Y'all gotta do better. Particularly white women, y'all gotta do better. Wait, black women, do black men not live on a planet with white men? Do we not live on a planet with white men? Why don't we get all in our feels? Why don't black men get all in their feels anytime white men are mentioned? Why don't black men get into their feels whenever an attractive black woman or accomplished black woman is with a white man? Serena's with a white man, we still be like, hey, Serena, tennis god. Or goddess, I guess, in this case. Huh? Why aren't black men all in their feels? Huh? Y'all gotta get better at this. That's what Mr. Z says all the time. They live in the same country, on the same continent, on the same planet, in the same solar system, in the same galaxy, and in the same universe with white women. So damn it all to hell. Why is it worth mentioning? It's worth mentioning he has a white wife. Why is it worth mentioning? Huh? Pathetic. So yeah, Neo, there are no good black men. And this is the thing. It was never gonna work. Once this society opened up enough, these folks are still anti-black as hell. Anti-black man as hell. But the society opened up just enough at the margins. Just enough, just a smidge enough for a black man to date and potentially marry out. First, American women are ruined anyway for the most part. But okay, fine. With the antagonism of black women and the way they're raised and socialized to see black men in particular, yeah, you damn right. You don't get community. How you gonna get community when more and more of your black boys and men are dating out? How do you get community then? Huh? Let the brother tell you what community really look like for y'all.
Listen, I feel like somewhere down the line, there's been like a little bit of miscommunication about our relationship. I'm your man's, not your man. Okay, that S is very important. It's a huge difference. You see, I'm your friend. That's a boy, not your boyfriend. I'm your homie. I'm not your brother. Nah, we don't got that type of relationship. Nah, we don't do that. Now that we got that sorted out, I'm gonna need you to start acting accordingly, nigga. I'm not taking you on dates. What the fuck? Listen, it's cool. We go hang out. We do shit. You know what I'm saying? We friends. We supposed to hang out. We go out. We do activities. We go get food. I'll pay for the shit, nigga. You my brody. You my mans. I fuck with you, so I'm gonna pay for it. Not every time though. Bring your wallet, okay? Sometimes you gonna have to pay. When me and the guys hang out, we hang out broke. You one of the guys. So me and you, we can hang out and do broke shit. We don't gotta go to a restaurant, my nigga. Like, bro, I'm already your therapist. I'm already your guardian that you don't listen to. I'm not trying to get no coochie out the queen. Why is you telling me to get you Lululemon? I got a car. I'm your friend. I'm your homie that drive. You need to ride somewhere, my nigga, I got you. You need to ride somewhere every day? All the time? This ain't no passenger princess situation. I gas, cash, or ass. And I don't want no ass from you. So come up off that.
Community, everyone. Huh? You know, younger sister Z in particular, she has male friends that she could call on in case of emergency. Do some of them want a pipe? Yeah, a couple of them probably. But she cultivated that over years. Madam, what have you built? What have you cultivated? Who have you invested in for you to call on community? You don't just get to shame black men. Huh? And that's all that is. You're attempting to shame black men, insult black men into doing what? Donating to you? And JD says Trump needs to get rid of Loving versus Virginia. In their mind, they only think the law applies to them. You know it. If black women, I'm so mad I didn't record it. I said it before when the reparation conversation was all the rage. You know, this is maybe 20. This is maybe 20. Oof, 2021, 2022, maybe. Paris Milan literally said, "I'm not joking now." Maybe it was 2019, but Paris Milan literally said, if there is reparations, black women should get reparations, not black men. White women are black men's reparations. Um, um, she was talking about DV. Apparently, black men DV and black women is black men's reparations. Black men not paying child support is black women's reparations. Yes, this is a supposed black woman talking like this about black men. Huh? Literally saying white women are black men's reparations. Black men not paying child support is black men's reparations. Yes, her words, literally her words. Black men not showed up for black women is black men's reparations. So yes, JD, if black women could have it, they would be the only ones that would be able to interracially marry and date. If they had it the way they wanted, you as a black man would have to end up with a black woman or be LGBTQ. Huh? And regardless if you're, they would tax you. If black women could, they would tax you whether you're with a black woman or not. Your money would be getting siphoned off to go quote unquote assist and help single black mothers. If black women could pull it, they would. Huh? If black women could tax, I think that's a woman thing, to be honest with you. It's not even a black woman thing. If black women could tax black men with a bachelor tax, if they could tax black men with a dating outside the race tax, huh? They would do it. They would pull it. They would do it. And it would be a heavy tax too. If they could tax you for dating outside the race, if they could tax you for being a bachelor, especially if you're doing well in life, huh? They would pull it. This is what we're dealing with. Imagine this lady so self-centered and selfish. She doesn't even appreciate that black men could never. Could black men put up a GoFundMe because they fell on hard times? Yeah. Let's say the black community didn't even make fun of or mock them for that. Cool. All right, we'll go with it. But if they had the unmitigated gall, the audacity, the gumption, the temerity to turn around and try to shame black women for not donating afterward, Oh, the Black Twitter would be on fire. Black Twitter would be on fire. And thank you for the super chat, JD. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Black Twitter would be on fire. Yikes. And let me read this from Dwayne. And Dwayne says, Z, I think that these types of feminists apply the labor theory of value to relationship. Oh, yeah, the unpaid labor? Yeah, I could see that. As a matter of fact, that's what I was saying. That was her catch-all where she's like, black women show up for everybody. They just throw that out there. Black women say that just like so flippantly. Everybody stands on our shoulders. We show up for everybody. Everybody. Like, black women are engaging in this selfless, unpaid labor for everyone, and everybody's just stomping them in the nuts. Black women are so morally superior to everyone in this society, including, but especially black men. Including and especially black men. Isn't that what Lene said? Black men don't value black women. These white men, value black women. They see the potential in black women. They see the care in black women, and the white guys that date black women, they see that, and unfortunately, they value this more than black men. It's always that for black women. They always frame it like that. Because black women are the only group of people on the planet that's not self-interested. They're the only ones. Huh? They're selfless to a fault. Huh? So yeah, that unpaid emotional labor, if you translate that into community, then yeah, unpaid communal labor. So imagine I engage in unpaid communal labor, and then when I'm in need, black men don't show up. And quite frankly, a lot of black women are in that type of time. As a matter of fact, Kim Foster. That's why a couple of people took a step back from her after Aaron Garner. Because I ain't going to protest for nothing, not for this slime ball, and men like him, and they don't show up for us like this. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Yeah, Dwayne, there's a bunch of black women that's on that type of time. Huh? And it's something they just tell themselves. It's just like the black women are the most educated demographic in America. It's something black women just keep on repeating to themselves. No matter who tells them, no matter how polite the person tells them or the group of people tell them, y'all know that's not true, right? They stick their fingers in their ears, la, 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 and ignore you and keep on telling themselves the same thing. Black women are the most educated demographic in America. This is something they tell themselves. Black women are the one group of people, the only group of people that engage in unpaid emotional labor, unpaid communal labor, and black women engage in unpaid communal labor with the most disloyal group of men in America, arguably on the planet. Yeah, of course they're gonna transfer that, labor theory over to communal. Of course. Yikes. Yeah. And once again, Dwayne, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. So I wanted to come to y'all with this once again. Shout out to Shay. I want to cover this. It's fascinating watching how black women contort themselves to find just a myriad of ways to say black men ain't ish. Madam, you're in the struggle and you still have the energy to stick your middle finger up at black men. Like that's what we are right now. I said it before. Black women will be about to drop. They will be going underneath the waves. You will see the bubbles start to bubble up under the, I mean, above the water. And right before she takes her last gasp, the last thing she gonna do is not fight to get above water. The last thing she gonna do is muster every bit of strength she has to stick her hand back above water to give you the middle finger. You in particular, black men, you in particular. Huh? Yikes. And Telescope says, I smiled at you this morning, Ninja. That'll be $5.50, $5.50. Say that. You only charging $5.50, Telescope? No, they charging $550. That's where we are with it. Okay, ladies. Uh, Imagine being that self-centered, that selfish. It's really all about them. She don't even appreciate a black man could never. A black man could never. You ask for help, whoever donate, donate. You imagine turning around and then choosing one demographic to go after and say, you didn't donate. What's the point of being in community with you? Huh? Yeah. Madam, clearly you don't have a man. Maybe you should approach this a little differently. Like this young lady.
Okay, I have one more thought that I have to get up as the sun is rising. Okay. Sometimes we lie to ourselves. And I've been doing that for quite some time now. And I am 32 this year. And it's almost the end of the year, so I'll be 33. And I'm just not about to go into 33 lying. So I'm going to be one of the first hard up type of women to admit that I want a man. I may actually need a man. That feels so disempowering sometimes to say in 2025. And people make you feel like, oh, you're weak. It's like, fuck it. I want a man. I don't necessarily... Yes.
Yeah. Maybe you should sound more like this lady, madam. But that would still take some, humble, and you would maybe have to look in the mirror and maybe consider, how did you get into this position? Huh? What did you do to aggravate your situation? What preventative measures could you have engaged in that would have kept you from, I don't know, asking multiple times for help? Huh? So on that note, y'all, we'll pause right here. Want to play this for y'all. Shout out to Shay Sade. Man, I see Sarge Really Pete's in the comments. I didn't get to read his comment. I'll read it in a little bit. No, I don't mean in my stream right now, y'all. I mean in Shay Sade's video. I'll read his comment later. Um, yeah, we'll see if we come up with a stream tomorrow, or if not Friday. Wow. Talk about being selfish and self-centered. What's the benefit, madam? Did you do anything to deserve any benefit from black men? That's a real question. Huh? What's the benefit of being in community with black men? Madam, we're just gonna say nothing, and now what? What you gonna do about it? There is no benefit. Now what? That should see Mr. Z face right now. There is no benefit. Now what? Clearly, you have already made that decision. Oh well. Anyway, y'all. So we'll pause right there. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. Go touch grass. Go be around people, in community with people. Some of which I guess will be of the opposite sex. So you don't sound like this lady when you run into hard times, when you need help or assistance. Huh? Yikes. And yeah, Starman says having to say that Ish was whipping that ass. Yeah, look, because and if I take her at face value, that's years and decades of conditioning. That's feminism, bro. Y'all see, Mr. Z don't even be using the word feminism like that. And feminist this and feminist with no, but no, this is really it. If she feel disempowered by admitting not only does she need a man, she wants one. It's not. That is the way she was raised. That is years and decades of feminist theory and idea. Especially when she said that's so disempowering. You imagine? You feel disempowered by saying you want and need a man in your life. These women are being raised to essentially be same-sex loving women, even if they're not engaging in the same-sex loving part of it all. Even if they're not co-munching, they're essentially same-sex loving women. There, Starman gave y'all a couple more minutes of commentary. But yeah, they're essentially same-sex loving women, even if they're not engaging in the same sex. To see it is disempowering for you, assumably, for you to be a heterosexual woman wanting and needing a man and admitting that to yourself and then feeling that is disempowering. Yeah, that's years and decades of conditioning. Yikes. And Starman says probably needs some coven deprogramming too. Oh, she definitely does, but she sees it as disempowering. You're 33, madam. You held out. You held out doing your single thing or whatever you was doing, whatever carousel you might have been jumping on and off of. Maybe you did some cold munching thing. We don't know. So at the last hour, 32 about to be 33. So we just gonna say 33. 33 years old. You feel disempowered by admitting that you want to be hugged upon. I said that already, man. Look, there's not an amount. I don't care what these same-sex loving women say. I don't care what these feminists say. You can't put a dollar amount for women liking being smacked on the ass by a man, like being hugged up from behind by a man, and he might be erect. There's not a dollar amount on that. There's not a dollar amount for holding your hand while we walk through the park or through a mall or walking down the street. You can't put a dollar amount on that. You can't put a dollar amount of her putting her head on your shoulder while y'all watching a movie or television or something. While y'all just talking while she cooking or while you washing dishes or while she washing dishes. You can't put a dollar amount on in the middle of the afternoon conversation. She call you or you call her. You can't put a dollar amount on that. Huh? The women want to speak about emotional labor as if the men are not engaging in emotional labor. You can't put a dollar amount on her confiding in you. There is no dollar amount. Huh? How do you even keep score? So yes, you're gonna need some, coven deprogramming. Because between the feminists and the capitalists, they got these women's minds all the way messed up. Their minds are mush. These women's minds are mush. That's why I use this background all the time. Their minds are mush. Huh? And Indigo says, feeling disempowered for doing what people have done since the beginning of time. You imagine coupling up with the opposite sex and you feel disempowered for admitting that you need and want a man. And very importantly, the word want. Huh? It's not like she just doesn't simply need a man like he's a utility, like he's just a hammer. Huh? There's a pun in there. Huh? He's not just a hammer. It's not like she just like a utility, a tool. No, she wants a man also. Huh? I ain't gonna read that out loud, Trail, but true, that part too. Can't put a dollar amount on that also. Huh? The little scooch back. Ah, the little scooch back. I hear you, Trill. Huh? These are things you can't put a dollar amount on. Y'all are some weirdos. Pure hard transactional. And y'all turning these women's minds into mush. This young lady actually had the ovaries and the gusto to say it. How many women, black women, are feeling just like her and they just try to keep frame? Lonely, horny, sad, depressed, and they think that it's just gonna be a hump they're gonna be able to get over. I'm just lonely for now. I'm gonna get over it. Huh? Yanni's that. Ooh, goddamn, you said that, Z. At least she was that. We don't know if she would have do now. She told you on that decenter mid video. She went out with her homegirls and everybody talking about men, and I just want to go back to a time where it wasn't about men, it was about having fun. Yeah. You don't want to be reminded that all that money you got, Yanni, don't mean nothing because you going home to that empty ass condo of yours. Same thing. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up, Chrissy. Years ago, this was maybe like 3 years ago. Chrissy just a random stream. She made a super random comment. I was like, got your ass. She was a random stream. She made a random comment. I'm in this condo. I'm in this apartment by myself. And she said it with the most sobering tone ever. Yeah, that loneliness kicking you in the ass, ain't it? You can't put a dollar amount on that. Yanni made good money. Chrissy made good money. Yeah, and that loneliness kicking you in the ass. Decenterman, shut the hell up. Compassionate was like, Scooch, what's Scooch though? What the F is Scooch? Like, I know what it is, but I don't know what it is. Huh? Yikes. Saint Cyr, Black Uru said this on my stream, what, a couple weeks ago, maybe? And Saint Cyr says, that goes to show there's not a male loneliness epidemic. It's a woman that are feeling it. It's the women that are feeling it. And the Raj report said something similar, maybe even a year ago at this point. It might have been longer than that. Yeah, Saint Cyr, exactly. Exactly. Huh? And Joe says, time to give black women their roses. Chargers not included. I got you, Joe. Where did it go? Where did it go? Wait a minute. I got you. If I can find it. The rose is on the run, y'all. Trying to find this thing. Wait a minute. Where'd the rose go? It's running. Oh, for real? Did I delete it? I do not think I deleted it. That thing running. Oh, wow, Joes, I think I might have deleted it. Or did I just move it somewhere? Yeah, Joe's that thing gone. Oh no, I didn't. There we go. And Joe's once again, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And Joe says, time to give black women their roses. Chargers not included. Hysterical. Here you go. Exactly. Right. So for real, on that note, y'all, we'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out all the Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. This young lady trying to shame men for apparently not donating to whatever struggle cause she has going on. Then the one black man that does, she has to make note that he has a white wife, which is just her trying to say, look, they're not with us, they're not in community with us in any way, shape, or form. Not platonically, not romantically. I hear you, lady. I hear you. Right? So on that note, y'all have a great rest of y'all night. We'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. Press the hype button on the way out, and Mr. Z out.